Hey, welcome back. It's me, Rugged Beast. Um, as you can see, well, as you might be able to tell, I don't really have like an actual game in front of me right now. There's probably footage in the background to keep you occupied and myself occupied. But right now, I'm not playing a game. I'm just speaking directly to the microphone, and I'm not very used to this kind of setup, so you have to bear with me. But hey, it's me, the Rugged. I just wanted to do a video, kind of a shortish video. No, not whatever, but yeah. Just talking about the complexities of Vergil in DMC5. And I'm not talking like lore-wise or like anything like that. Okay, I'm just talking about purely gameplay-wise and kind of like from the perspective of someone who's new at the game and learning the game. Because that would have been, well, obviously the process that I would have went through. I'm not saying I'm a pro now, but like I can play Vergil decently comfortably, right? And that's probably what's going to be in the background because I mean it's relevant footage. So yeah, I'm trying this as a new form of content, kind of, because I want to try things that challenge me a bit more instead of just doing the same kind of uploady kind of normal content videos because I feel like they're not really working anymore. Anyway, let's get into it. So yeah, I wanted to do this video because it's kind of amazing how in-depth the combat is in this game, and I did a short video on Dante and literally just like the shotgun stinger. I'm kind of describing that a bit, but I want to do something a bit more in detail. So when you're starting out with Vergil, I guess from my perspective, when I started out with Vergil, you know, I used the Yamato. You know, that's the first weapon I used. And I got very comfortable with it because it was just like easy to use, you know. But I remember because you know I was still new at the game. I think because I played the base game on Human and Devil Hunter first, so I wasn't like completely like not. I didn't completely not know what I was doing, but like I was still very fresh. So I probably started the game, you know, playing probably like most people who play Vergil for the first time. You know, using the Yamato and like just probably using like a variety of combo A and combo B. You get me? Like just like smack, 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 and that's kind of it. I think I used rapid slash a lot though as well. To be fair, kind of like the Stinger meme where I would just kind of hold forward and just attack, so I would happen to do rapid slash. I didn't even know you could do the one where you hold Y or whatever button you use to attack and you basically bring the enemy up with me. I'll try and put this example on screen. But I didn't even know of that until like a bit later on. Because all I really knew was like sword attack, and like teleport to enemy, which is really easy, and like dash straight through the enemy. That was my skill set as I first played Vergil. And obviously, as I played, so I would have went from that to like, okay, so you start using the other weapons, you know, use Bull and Mirage Edge. And it's like, okay, I'm using these weapons. Maybe you splice in some of the summoned sword attacks in there, like the kind of Rosat ones, because they're pretty good. Maybe use the ones that summon around you, because they're pretty good too. And then that's kind of the next step in my arsenal. And then like okay, then you start using the basic combos of those weapons, and it's like okay, I'm starting to get into this a bit. And then obviously there's a threshold, right, where you start like kind of as you fight enemies and as you learn the enemies, which is also another thing in itself. You have to learn all the enemies. You have to you basically then try and have to figure out a bit of a flow, because that's kind of what there is in the game, right? When you're trying to do combos, which the game highly encourages, you have to kind of understand a bit of a rhythm to the weapons that you're using in the current moment, how they apply, and are you just repeating the same moves over and over again? And nothing against using the same moves and over again, but like, shit, that stuff isn't like satisfying a lot of the time. You know, the satisfaction a lot of the game comes from, okay, I'm doing this move and I'm doing this move and I'm doing this move and it flows together. I'm using this puzzle piece connects to this puzzle piece, and this one connects to this one. That to me is like the fun in DMC, is when I get that kind of flow going, especially when I'm learning something new and I'm putting something new in the process. That's kind of like the funnest part for DMC for me. you start kind of alternating weapons and trying. That's when you start kind of getting combos a bit down. And then once you get to that point, I was like, okay, I think I kind of got a bit more into using Sin Double Trigger. I think at that point, I did use it, but I only ever used it for like kind of like I would with Dante, where I just used the whole thing. Like, I didn't really know much about Quad S. I hadn't really used it a lot, say for Dante. So for Vergil, it was obsolete to me. But I would start using Sin Double Trigger for ultimate abilities, because you could use it 4 times in one ultimate ability health bar. So you could absolutely just crush bosses. And I think by that point, that's the first time I probably beat Bloody Palace with Vergil, because I was just had the ultimate abilities and stuff, and I was able to just kind of crush bosses. But eventually, I learned that I can kind of do the Quad S thing. And basically what that is if you activate your Sin Double Trigger, you'll go into it for about 5 or 6 seconds, and then after that 5 or 6 seconds, I can't remember how much it is, your STD will start depleting. So basically, with Vergil and Dante, when you have that, you have enough time to like pull off like a combo, depending on what you're doing, and then you can switch back out and you won't use any Sin Double Trigger. It's just the benefit of Vergil is you can switch out anytime. You don't have to worry about Triple S or like not being able to switch out. So Vergil made it really easy in learning in that regard. But anyway, I learned about that, and I think at that point, I would have learned about like the basic extra moves, because the way Vergil works is if you're in Sin Double Trigger, usually a lot of his combos, like base combos, like combo A's and combo B's, he will add extra attacks on the end of his combos that basically make it. They're very powerful, so they incentivize you just kind of switching in and out to get more damage on certain combos and stuff, especially on things like high health enemies and groups of some enemies, depending on what you're using. So I learned about that, but probably the first time I did that was probably with the Yamato, let's be honest, combo A, because that one does so much damage. Honestly, it's so broken. Not broken, but yeah, kind of broken. But I loved it because it did good damage. It was satisfying. I love the lines Sergio did when he did it. It was like, I've got you in 2. It's like, okay, this is cool. But then, then you get to judgment cuts. And when you're a new player to Vergil, judgment cuts, you might hear about how good they are, and you can see in game how good they are, especially when you're fighting him. But like, unless you know how to do a perfect judgment cut, then you're kind of, you're missing out on most of the potential of judgment cuts. And so for anyone who doesn't know, a perfect judgment cut, so a normal judgment cut is obviously when Vergil kind of staggers back and he kind of like shoots quote unquote, like an attack from the distance. It has like this circular like orby kind of attack thing. There's some slashes in the middle and it makes like vroom, vroom sound. That's a normal judgment cut. But a perfect judgment cut is when you time it so you let go of Y, or the attack button, at the perfect time, so that instead of like staggering back and doing the judgment cut, you just do it like in the middle of the attack, just then and there. Just, it's like very quick, it's very sudden, very easy to notice the difference. I'll try and show an example on screen. But then you can stack. I learned you can stack judgment cuts. So you can do that 3 times, but they all have to be perfect judgment cuts. I think it might be 4 times. I'm pretty sure it's 4 times, actually. But anyway, yeah, you can do that. But then there's more depth to that, right? Because what you can do is, if you pull out Doppelganger, you get extra judgment cuts, because you're giving out judgment cuts from you and your Doppelganger. But if you switch to Sin Double Trigger while doing judgment cuts, you'll shoot out 3, depending on whether or not there's a total of 3 enemies on screen. Like, you won't shoot out 3 to a boss, but you'll shoot out 1 to a boss. But if there's 2 enemies also there, you'll shoot out 2 more to the boss. Enemies, sorry. So it's really good for just handling groups of enemies. And you also notice that you have to do the judgment cuts faster or slower, depending on whether or not you have the Doppelganger out or your SCD activated, because you attack faster while in those modes, so you have to be faster. I actually prefer those modes because I've gotten used to doing it faster, and it's just much easier. Especially air judgment cards. So, you know, you get that, which is basically Vergil's busted move, Judgment Cut Central, right? The god, the G it is, the goat. And then I also learned, after that, I probably would have learned about extra STD moves. So there's, you know, the extra Wolf combo attacks. I probably could have mentioned those. There's the Mirage Edge ones. There's also Stinger for Mirage Edge. That gets more powerful. I love the one where you do the wing smash with the Wolf. That one's fucking badass. Let me just think. I'll insert any more examples I can find. But basically, most of the weapon combos have extra attacks added on whenever you're in STD. And once you learn about all of those and you just start playing with them, it's so fun. I kick 13. I love kick 13. It's probably my favorite move in the game. When you do like quite a few kicks in that. I don't think it's actually up to 13, so it's kind of a lie. But when you're in STD, you do like way more kicks, so it's just like it's really satisfying. I really like it. Anyway, so you get those extra moves, which are powerful, by the way. They dramatically increase your strength. You know, if you're able to conserve your Sin Devil Trigger and use those moves and fight enemies without being fucking hit all over the place. And I forgot to mention, something else I learned is when you play the game normally, you learn about, like, dodge rolling, I guess, kind of. Not in the Dark Souls sense, but yeah. But, like, when you're playing as Vergil, there's trick dodge, which I think the game normally kind of encourages you to do. But I didn't learn about that till way late, or at least I didn't really know how to use it. It's such a cool way to just like dodge attacks with trick dodge. I mean, you can roll, but it's a way just less cooler. And it's like not really character of Vergil. But like you can spam it, and honestly, like it's way easier than trick the roll. So you can do that, and also there's also the back to forth like move away trick, which is good. And if you learn that, then that's also good. But I really like it for distance, because if you get distance from like one of the chargey power attacks on an enemy, then good. But the trouble is, obviously, like if you fuck up, like there's so many times where I've done back to forward attacks and just like teleported straight to the enemy as a Vergil because I miss input. It's kind of annoying, but it is funny. But yeah, what was I saying? So yeah, there's the trick thing. Oh, so then the next thing you learn about is when you're doing all these other moves and stuff. Like even the STD, SDT. I don't know how many times I said STD. Sorry, it's kind of a bad habit somehow. So even once you've learned all these extra moves, like even the extra moves from the SDT combos, what you can find is you can basically perfect judgment cut most Yamato moves. Like, yeah, that's kind of that. You can perfect judgment cut, I'm pretty sure, any Yamato move, including Mirage Combo B. You can perfect judgment cut that. I might do an example of that as well. I learned that, which was pretty cool. But yeah, you can perfect judgment cut any of those moves. So technically, if you wanted to, after any attack you do with Yamato, you could technically just do like a quadruple judgment cut if you wanted to, and if you practiced it enough. I tend to stick to one judgment cut, perfect judgment cut, because I'm quite comfortable with that. And it's good damage, extra damage, and it's like, you know, I'm not spending every other move like trying to spam judgment cuts. Although, mind you, if I did do that, I probably would get very good at Vergil. But like, also getting good at Vergil, just getting good at judgment cuts, and you're fine. So yeah, but like, that's basically the kind of list of things that I kind of got used to. There's also like the summon swords I learned about, because I never really used the back to forth one, the one that drops down like spikes from the ceiling, because I know I got really funny about back to forth moves, especially the trick dodge and the trick one and sword one. The other moves I was fine with, like kick 13, void slash, and whatever the one with the Mirage Edges. I actually love that one. The Mirage Edges is so nice. I mean, they're all good. But the spike swordie from the Uppy Bubby one, it just slows the enemies in it. So what you could do is you could just do sick combos where you just launch the enemy up in the air, you get them with the spikes, and you just do like judgment cut end or something, and it's like so cool. I love it. And all of these things that I've mentioned, they're little things that stack together. It's like every time you learn something, every time you do something new, it's like, oh, dude, that's cool. And once you start getting used to it, incorporating it, you feel like a fucking kick-ass badass. And then obviously, like, time happens, and you're like, okay, next thing, I guess, my combos are getting a bit dry. But it's like, it's so strange, because Vergil, to me, seems like one of the least complex characters in DMC5. Not in terms of story, obviously, but in, like, gameplay. But once you start unpacking probably one of the least complex, like, gameplay-wise characters in the game, and you realize how complex they are, it makes Dante all the more intimidating, because that man has 4 stars, four of each weapon, so he has, like, 12 things that can all connect together and all work together in, well, for the most part. And the complexity in everything is just overwhelming. And that's probably why Vergil is such a nice one to learn and kind of get used to a lot of the basic kind of things, despite the fact that he is overpowered, because he's got 3 weapons, and that's all you really need to worry about. 3 weapons, maybe the summon swords, and the trick dodge. Did I also mention that you could just, because I also got in the habit of jumping, because jumping gives ice frames. There's also the doppelganger, which I don't even use that much, to be completely honest, unless I'm getting extra judgment cut damage. Mainly because I think a Sin Double Trigger is way cooler, so I'd rather just save it for that, so I can use that. But also, I'm not very good with the doppelganger, which basically just proves my point even more, that Vergil has more complexity, and there's more to Vergil that I haven't learned. And it's amazing, really. But yeah, that's kind of the complexity of Vergil. It's amazing how one character, one of the least complex characters, gameplay-wise, has such a learning curve to them, and it's such a process. And these are all things that I've learned over like 300 hours on PC, 400 hours on PC almost, and I'm still learning. And despite the fact that I've also played like probably a couple hundred on the Xbox, the amount of depth in the combat with the game is absolutely crazy. It's actually like bewildering, almost. Like it's why I'm still playing the game and why I quite like it. Because that's what I live for when I play DMC. There's those moments where it's like, hey, I learnt this new thing and I'm doing this new cool thing. Or hey, I pulled off this cool combo. Or hey, I just fucking wrecked this boss in like 2 seconds. that's what I live for in DMC, and it's why I love it so much. And I hope this video came across clearly enough. Maybe I should do more videos, more well-structured videos, more planned out videos on the other characters someday. Because it's crazy how much you can take out of one character, who is probably the least complex character, gameplay-wise. I keep saying that, sorry. Anyway, thank you for watching. Short little video, or whatever it is. Thank you, and see you in the next one, whatever that will be.